Good news. I went to the year 3000. Not much has changed. The only thing I noticed was like now they live underwater. We're going to practice solving two-step equations with fractions. We're going to clear the fractions. Everyone freaks out when they see fractions. We're going to clear them. So the way you do that is you multiply by a common denominator. It's almost like you are adding or subtracting fractions. You have to have that common denominator. That's the number we're looking for. We're going to multiply the whole equation by that, and then there's no more fractions. So I have this joke worksheet here. We're going to go through most of them together as notes, and then you can finish the rest for practice. So maybe we'll do like the odd ones. So we'll solve them, look at the back of the sheet, see which letter corresponds with that answer, write it on the line for that problem. So like when we solve number one, you match it up, whatever answer you get on the back, you would write that letter on the blank for number one. So let's try number one. I'm looking at the denominators. I see they're 5, 10, and 20. I'm going to move right in the middle because sometimes I just feel very important. All right. A common denominator for 5, 10, and 20, a number that they can all go into, would be 20. Now there's a couple ways you can do this. The proper way is you should multiply 20 times the numerator and then divide by the denominator. So we'll do that on this first one. And then I'll show you a way that I like, that I think is a little better, a little quicker, a little cleaner. So 20 times 2 is 40. So this would be 40 over 5x. And we'll come back and we'll clean that up. It divides out perfectly. 20 times that 3 would be 60 over 10 equals 20 times 11 would be 220 divided by 20. So the way I'm going to show you next kind of avoids even writing this step. But we can clean this up. Now 40 divided by 5 is 8. So 8x minus 60 divided by 10 is 6. And 220 divided by 20, cancel out a 0. 22 divided by 2 is 11. Here's our new equation. I guarantee all of you would rather solve this green equation than the initial equation. So we get rid of the minus 6 by adding 6. 8x equals 17. And then that means 8 times x, so we need to divide both sides by 8. So clear the fractions. I'll just leave that as 17 over 8. You can't reduce that fraction anymore. Clear the fractions, undo addition and subtraction, undo multiplication and division. So looking at number 3, now I'll show you the way I prefer to actually do these. And the only reason I prefer this way is because you're just working with smaller numbers. So it's still the same thing. Look for that common denominator, 5, 7, and 35. So we could use 35. But here's how we're going to figure out what's going on. We're actually going to start in the denominator. So I'm going to start with the 5 down here, and I'm going to say, in my head, I'm going to say, how many 5s go into 35? Or what's 35 divided by 5? And it's 7, right? And then you take that number and you multiply it by the top. 7 times 4 gives you 28. And that's it. And that's what you would get if you did 35 times 4, that's 140, and then divided by 5, you end up with 28. So that's cool. But when we get to a problem like when we're doing 35 times 17 over 35, I don't know what 35 times 17 is, but our new trick will be very helpful for this. So starting here, 7 goes into 35 5 times. And we multiply that by the 3, and that would be 15. So minus 15x. And here is why it is so great. 35 goes into 35 one time, and 1 times 17 is 17. That's not that bad, right? Start in the bottom, see how many go into our common denominator, or our common multiple, and then multiply that by the numerator at the end. It's just smaller numbers that you're working with. So we'll have to get rid of the 28 by subtracting 28. Negative 15x equals negative 11. And then we have to divide by the negative 15. And the only thing we can simplify is negative divided by negative switches to positive. Great. Let's try some more. And we're going to keep using that technique. I want to practice with that technique. Number 5, we have 25, 10, and 20. So we need a number that all of those can go into, which I know for a fact 100, that they all go into 100. You could use 10,000 if you want, and there will be no more fractions. As long as all of those denominators go into the number you're multiplying, you're good. But 100 is the smallest number that they all go into. So usually it's easier to do mental math if you find that smallest multiple. 25 goes into 100 4 times, and 4 times 22 is 88. 88x minus 10 goes into 100 10 times, and 10 times 9 is 90. 20 goes into 100 5 times, and 5 times 3 is 15. There's our new equation. Get rid of minus 90 by adding 90. 88x equals 105. And then we just divide by our 88. X equals 105 over 88. Let's see if I took away 88. 17. All right, so they don't have anything in common. So that would be our final answer. To number 7. We have 5 sevenths, 3 fourths, and 11 14ths. Now 7 goes into 14, so really we can think about 14 and 4, and they both go into 28. And if you can't figure out what they all go into, you could always multiply all 3 of them together. That would be a huge number, but it would work. So 28 is the smallest number they all go into. 7 goes into 28 4 times, and 4 times 5 would be 20. So 20x. 4 goes into 28 7 times, and 7 times 3 is 21. 14 goes into 28 2 times. 2 times 11 is 22. Minus 21. 22 minus 21 is 1. And then we'll divide by 20. We will have 1/25. Fantastic. Fantastic. All right. Number 9. 45, 9, and 5. Hey, they all go into 45. 45 goes into 45 1 time. 1 times 19 is 19. 9 goes into 45 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10. So minus 10x equals 5 goes in there 9 times. 9 times 3, 27. We will subtract 19 from both sides. Not much has changed, but we'll have negative 10x equals 8 over here, and then we'll divide by negative 10. Now we usually write the negative up top for a negative fraction, or out in the middle. I'm going to write it up top. And then 8/10 reduces to 4/5. Oh yeah, number 11. We got 25. We got 20. We got 50. Hey, all of those go into 100. 25 goes into 100 4 times. 4 times 14 is 56. 20 goes into 100 5 times. 5 times 3 is 15. And 50 goes into 100 twice. 2 times 13 is 26. We will subtract 56. That's just what we do. Negative 15x equals negative 30. Divide by our negative 15. Negative 30 divided by negative 15 is positive 2. Are you positive? I know I am. Oh no, only two more. Oh no. 10, 8, and 4. Well, 4 goes into 8, so really we just have to think about 8 and 10. They both go into 40. You can also use 80 if you'd like. We're going to use 40. You can also use 8,000. 10 goes into 40 4 times, and 4 times 7 is 28. 8 goes into 45 times, and 5 times 5 would be 25. And 4 goes into 40 10 times. 10 times 3 is 30. We will subtract the 28. So 25x equals 2. And then we shall divide by 25. 2 over 25. I hope these songs really catch on and you're singing them at home as well. Oh no! 4 fractions? I know the worksheet says 2-step equations. This one is 3 steps. Ooh. Ooh. Alright. We still need that common denominator. 2, 22, 4, and 11. Well, 2 goes into 4, so we can think about 4, 11, and 22. 11 goes into 22. So let's just make sure that 22 and 4 have this in common, which that could be 44. 2 goes into 44 22 times. And 22 times 1 is 22. 22 goes into 44 2 times. And 2 times 13 is 26. 4 goes into 44 11 times. 11 times 3 is 33. 11 goes into 44 4 times. And 4 times 10 is 40. Great. Now the one extra step is combining our like terms on the same side. These are like terms. We could just do that. 26 minus 33 is negative 7. How do we get rid of negative 7? We add the 7, okay? Plus 7 plus 7. 22x equals 47. We gotta divide by 22. And then make sure we simplify the fraction. X equals 47 over 22. Look at us, we're just that good. We can solve 2-step equations with fractions everywhere. You know the song now, it's time to sing along.